Welcome to Friday, January 10th, 2025. So I'm sure that the title of this video is probably automatically upsetting a few of you, getting some of you triggered. I don't really think that truckers are dumb. What I do think is dumb is some of these trucking channels, you mother, that more or less fan the fire, right? They don't offer any solutions. And the reason I'm talking about this is because, we've been talking about freight broker transparency and everything. And I came across this video and and then I started to kind of watch several, but I noticed a consistency, right? And that was, what are your biggest problems that you're facing, and they're interviewing, in the industry? Is it brokers? Well, you just led that conversation, right? So you more or less put it in their mind that brokers are the biggest problem, right? Have they ever worked as a broker? Do they know much about the brokerage side of the industry? No. Right? Well, we don't need brokers. Shippers should work direct with carriers. Well, and some do, right? But here's the thing. If you were to eliminate all of the brokers, right, do everything carrier direct with shippers, you would need to hire a full-time staff to build relationships with shippers, right? And you can only work with shippers where you have trucks. Okay? So essentially you would need hundreds of customers to fulfill a carrier that might only have 20 trucks. Okay? Excuse me, I'm still kind of getting over the flu here. Because your trucks are only in certain places. The other problem is that when that shipper has more loads and they're sending you emails or they're posting those loads to load boards, you're not there, right? Which means they've got an enormous network of carriers that they need to vet, right? That they need to qualify. They have to avoid all of the fraud that's going on in the industry, the double brokers and things like that, just like a broker would. Okay? They're going to have the software to do that. Okay? And you're thinking, okay, well, the software, it's not a big deal. They can do that. They're going to have to hire more staff, right? Which is going to cost them more money. Okay? To handle these, 20, 30,000, 40,000 carriers that they're going to need to move their freight throughout the year, right? With so many owner operators, smaller fleets, things like this. And maybe they don't run, maybe that shipper doesn't have regular dedicated lanes. So it's not like you're back and forth on a regular basis, right? There's a lot of shippers out there that don't have consistent, regular, like dedicated lanes, like, a load out of Chicago to Dallas moves, every Monday and Friday or something. Okay. So, there's all of that. They're going to have to constantly monitor all of those carriers to make sure their insurance is up to date, right? Things like this. Their safety score is satisfactory. All of these things, right? You're putting all of the broker burden back on the customer, right? They don't want to deal with that. They have enough going on. Okay. And in today's age, with the amount of freight that gets moved, it's the cost to customers would be astronomical, right? And you think that the price of groceries at the grocery store went up, the cost of anything went up. See what would happen if everything went carrier direct, right? So instead of maybe looking at brokers as and fanning the flames of, oh, we don't need brokers, all the brokers are greedy, all the brokers are the devil, instead of looking at it that way, right? Maybe try offering a solution, right? Or how to build better relationships with brokers, right? That's one thing that we try to preach here, is building better relationships with carriers if you're a broker. But no, we'd rather fan the flames for views. Outrageous. Oh, this broker scammed me. There's good brokers and there's bad brokers. There's good carriers and there's bad carriers, right? There's bad actors on both sides of things. Um, maybe look at like your operating costs, for instance. Like insurance going way up. Are you going after the insurance companies that, your insurance rates went up unjustly? No. You just want to fan the flames and, accuse all brokers of being unscrupulous. And it's just not the case. You want to sit there and fan the flames and talk about, oh, all brokers are making 80% profit on the load. Get the out of here. Are you kidding me? I just did a video on what the average broker's profit margin was. It's 14.3%. Only 2.5% of the loads, according to a recent report from DAT, is that there's only 2.5% of the loads where they make over 14.3%. Okay. Now, when the market is up or capacity's tight, or when a broker ends up losing money on a load, do carriers care about that? Do they care about their operating costs, their insurance costs, their software costs, all of their regular renewing monthly costs? No. Do they care about the fact that they have to take care of payroll, to pay, their people in accounting, their sales staff, all of this stuff? No. Do they care that they've got families to feed, that they've got a mortgage to pay or rent to pay, that they've got, the same bills that you do, right, as far as your personal expenses? No. We need to create better synergy in this industry, right? We need to start focusing on better broker carrier relationships. So to be out there and act like you're some kind of good guy, and just point the finger, right? Just point the finger at brokers. Maybe, get an education. Look at why market rates go down as far as supply and demand, right? Look at what's going on in the economy, among numerous other things that affect the market, right? Maybe try to offer some solutions. Maybe look at what's affecting carriers' bottom line besides brokers, right? This video is more or less just some food for thought. I don't want to turn this into a big to-do. The title was more or less to just, I guess, get this out here. I don't think that truckers are dumb in any way, shape, or form. I have a lot of friends that are truckers, right? And for me to believe that truckers are dumb, and a lot of them are very, very educated. They're very smart individuals. They're successful in this industry. So no way would I call truckers dumb. But it was to get your attention, right? To make you think, like, maybe there's a little bit more going on here than what the broker's taking off the top, right? Or maybe the broker's giving you what you needed, and then he's tacking on, an additional amount for his service. Okay. I'm not going to go, I could probably sit here for days and discuss this, but I just, again, I wanted this to be kind of some food for thought. Um, you know, it amazes me some of the content that gets created where, again, they don't provide any solutions. They fan the flames. It's us versus them mentality, right? They don't want to maybe elaborate on how to network better, right? How to strengthen your relationships. Nope, just fan those flames, us versus them. And it's hateful is what it is. It's hateful. It destroys your mood. It will destroy your entire day, your week, your month, your year with that mentality. And they don't even drive anymore. I think they drove for what, a year, 6 months, something like that. Come on now. Became a YouTube personality and, broker, bad. Come on. What about predatory towing, right? Things like this. Like I mentioned earlier, your insurance going up, right? There's other expenses that everybody faces that diminish your bottom line. It's not just brokers. Brokers are probably on the lower end of that. But no, let's not talk about that. Let's not try to provide any solutions, right? And there was one gentleman that was being interviewed, and I did like what he had to say, but I think that a lot of the commenters on that video, I don't know if they just weren't listening, they weren't paying attention, or what, but he had actually come out with him and I guess a few other people had come out with an app or something where you could post your, the rate that you got on a certain lane, or for a load. Well, there's a lot of different variations to that, right? And as a broker, I've had similar shippers, right? They ship basically the same product on the same lane and offered two different prices. One paid decent, the other one was cheap as all get out, right? So there's things like that to consider as well. It doesn't hold true, right? And I've seen comments on, Facebook posts and things like that, stop letting, DAT and Internet Truck Stop, determine your rate. Well, they're not determining your rate. They're showing you what this lane has been moving for. That's the average, right? That's why if you look at the average, there's the low and there's also a high. Okay. But that's the average for that given period. Whether it's 3 day, 9 day, 7 day, whatever, 15 day, 30 day. So these are all things that you need to look at and consider. Okay. So again, just some food for thought. I want to reiterate again, I don't think truckers are dumb. I think a lot of them are very, very intelligent. I appreciate everything that they do, right? I've got carriers in this market that have been running loads for me, refrigerated loads at like $4.61 a mile, right? Why? Because we've built that relationship, right? We've built that relationship together between me and that carrier and then me and that customer, right? And that carrier is always on time. They deliver on time. They do an excellent job, right? And this is just an example of like one of many carriers that I work with, right? Am I always able to get rates like that? No, not in this market. I've got one customer, just as a quick example, that they ship dry food product, and they used to pay fairly decent. Now, I think I've moved one load for them in the last 6 months, right? And there's a lot of different factors that go into that. But, I've kind of gotten, even as a broker, I'll turn that in according, it could be on a lane that I'm fully aware of and what I'm used to, the rate being, and I'll turn that into them accordingly when they ask for a rate. And let's just say hypothetically that, this particular lane moves for $1,500, right? I'll turn that in, and then I won't get a reply. And I'll say, is everything okay? Are you still making a decision? Things like this. I do have a carrier that's willing to run this load at that rate. This is what we've been running this lane at. And they'll go, oh no, we've got other carriers that are around 900. You're way too high. So it's not just brokers. You guys are cutting your own throats, right? For whatever reason, and you can look into that however you want, right? But it's a fact. It's not just brokers suppressing rates, because brokers don't determine rates. You guys do, right? Carriers do. Now, the shipper, obviously, they have to agree to, to pay that much for the load. But, and this is another thing too, is that some of these carriers that, maybe have other Facebook groups or are a part of other groups that, according to them, they're very successful. They've never had much of a downturn. When the industry, when the market took a dip, nothing really changed for them. The one thing that they don't disclose is that they're running the same lanes for the same 2, 3, 4, 5 brokers, right? They've established those relationships, and they're running those dumbbells back and forth, that same load, and it doesn't change, right? So versus living off the spot market, right? They're getting calls from their broker saying, hey, are you available? And they're an owner operator, or they've got three to 5 trucks, but according to them, they're doing very well for themselves. But you'll notice consistency in their posts that, yes, they are running regular loads for the same handful of brokers versus, getting set up with 100 different brokers and running the spot market, not knowing what, running from Florida at $1.30 a mile to BF Montana, right? Waiting till you get out there to find out if you can get a load back out. That's another thing that I've seen carriers do, right? And then I get a call because I've worked with them in the past. Hey, do you have anything out of Montana? I've been sitting here for 3 days. What? Why? Why would you where'd you come from? Florida. I grabbed a load, $1.30 a mile. I didn't really want to take it, but I had to get out of Florida. Okay. Well, like a lot of other carriers, you either deadhead out of there, or you take short little loads that pay halfway decent, that are going to load and deliver very quickly, right? And work your way back out of Florida. You don't wait till you get to a place like Montana and then try to find a load, right? You're going to end up deadheading 500, 700 miles out of there to grab something, and it might be another crap rate. So just some things that I've experienced, listening to other carriers, some of, and that example actually comes from a carrier that I know personally. And I thought, man, what are you doing? You know better than that. But I don't know. Again, just quickly want to reiterate, I don't think truckers are dumb. Okay. This was all just kind of meant as more or less a jab at some of the other channels that don't have anything to help you improve you, right? They're not offering any advice. They're not offering anything beneficial to you other than fanning the flames. You want to grow in this industry, you need to get away from that stuff. And I'm not trying to diminish anybody else's channel or anything like that, but if they're not actually doing something for you, other than you might bump into them at a truck stop and they're offering you a free hot dog, what are you doing? Besides letting that negativity creep into your life. All right. That's all for now. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Again, if you need links for anything, we've got discount codes in the description down below for some things. Don't forget to join the Facebook group. If you decide to request membership in our Facebook group, don't forget to answer all the questions. Okay? I get a lot of people that request to join the group and they don't answer any questions. Okay? So if you really truly want to be in the group and you want to network and you want to learn and you want to grow and build relationships with others within the group, because that's what that group's all about, positivity, right? It's all about networking and everything. And so if you're going to come in there and be negative, you go, right? Everybody in that group is there to grow and be successful. But make sure you answer those questions, okay? With that, I'll leave you. Again, have a great weekend. Stay positive, okay? Stay positive. Work on solutions, okay? Don't listen to negativity. You just keep that crap right out of your life, all right? I love y'all. As always, be kind to one another. And until next time, I'm out.